What is up, y'all? Sunday Props back at it, and I have some urgency for this episode because I had people texting me, when is this going to drop? And people, I'm talking about Chrissy. Okay. So, he was texting me earlier, like, when are you going to drop it? Because there's something that I learned about life, and that is to listen to y'all about y'all props. You guys know Three Man's really well, so we're going to give you our 3 props each, give you a 6-man. We suggest you split that up, pick your favorites out of it, and go from there. And then 3 fantasy players for this week. So
cool, guys. All right, so I'm going to kick you off with our first prop with the early game. So you're going to have to get up and set this early or set it on Saturday night.
3 weeks in a row.
Yep, I like it. And this is another good one with the Ravens and the Titans. Used to be a huge matchup in the playoffs when they had Ravens would be stomping on the mascot or the 50-yard line. That was the logo. That was bad. And then they lost in the playoffs the year before that, so it's been pretty nuts. But, takes me my prop, Titans versus Ravens. Derrick Henry. Because he's going under, okay? Derrick Henry is going under, all right? 66.5 rushing yards. He's gone under this in 3 out of 5 games. With only 1 game over 100 yards. That don't seem like normal King Henry to me. All right? More so, it's about the Ravens' run defense and his backup, Tajay Spears, getting a lot of work. Last week, Tajay Spears got over 50% of the snaps, so he played more than Derrick Henry.
Jesus.
The Ravens' defense is allowing 3.9 yards a carry, so under 4 yards a carry. Also, allowing 80 yards per game to running backs as a team, but that's on 21.8 attempts. Henry has only had over 21 carries in the 2 games that they've won, and they're underdogs in this game. So I like Henry to go under 66.5 rushing yards. That Baltimore defense is going to be coming for vengeance as they are... You're like spazzing over there, man.
Nah, I'm sorry. I was screenshotting stuff.
Yeah, I was like, dude. Henry, under 66.5 yards. That Baltimore defense coming revenge after losing to their division rivals, the Steelers.
All right, for my first prop coming out the same exact game, Ravens and Titans, I got Zay Flowers over 55.5 receiving yards. And here's why. Zay's last 5 games have been 78 yards, 62 yards, 48 yards, but that was against the Browns. 56 yards, and last week 73 yards on Pittsburgh. He's only gone under once in his last 5 games, and with Odell and Rashad dealing with major injuries and lack of targets, also they keep dropping passes. Zay is the guy other than Mark Andrews. He is playing the 25th ranked Titans pass defense, and he is getting targeted on an average of 5.8, and he's getting 10.9 yards per reception. So, I like Zay Flowers in this one. Take him on the over, and we'll see what happens, but I really love Zay on.
I'm with Seb on that. I love Zay Flowers as over. I looked into that, too, because I like that prop a lot. The Titans are allowing 196 yards per game to wide receivers.
It's insane.
And Zay Flowers is asked to do 55.5. Yeah.
It's going to go up, so I'm going to try to put this out as soon as possible, but it is definitely going to be going up.
You found a diamond in the rough, my friend. Good
Just
prop.
like last week, 3 diamond.
You went 3-0. Seb money. All right, so I'm going another under, and I'm going rushing yards. What's so funny? You don't like my 3? You don't like my?
I'll take that for Turkey Bowl.
All right, Rachaad White under 51.5 rushing yards. He's only had over 50 yards in half of his games, 2 out of 4. All right, and only over 55 in 1 game, so he's not a rushing monster. Okay, but the main reason is also the matchup. I like targeting matchups. He's playing against Detroit. Okay, let me remind you on these running backs that went against Detroit and struggled very bad. Aaron Jones, if you put him in your lineup, you know he struggled. Okay, Bijan Robinson, another one, had 35 yards. Then Miles Sanders struggled. Ken Walker is the only one out of all those running backs to break 40 yards. Also didn't mention Isaiah Pacheco. Every single one of those running backs, except for Ken Walker, got under 40 rushing yards.
That's tough.
Miles Sanders, Aaron Jones, Bijan Robinson, Isaiah Pacheco, all under 40 yards. Kenneth Walker, if you add into that, all under 50 yards because he got 43. I like Rachaad White under 51.5 rushing yards. I think he's going to get shut down by this Detroit rush defense.
He's also not been that good this year.
I don't like Rachaad White that much. He looks like he'd be good, but he's slow. He really is slow.
All right, my next prop, Kirk Cousins, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Now, I get it. Justin Jefferson is on IR and he's probably done for the year. But he has players like Jordan Addison, KJ Osborne, and even Alexander Madison coming out of the backfield to catch passes. Kirk has gone over in his last 5 games. All games this year, he scored 2 touchdowns at least. He's had 2, 4, 3, 2, and 2. Okay? He's not going under 2 passing touchdowns. Also, the Vikings offense is their everything. And Kirk is fighting for his job as he's suspected to be traded by the trade deadline. He is in the rumors. Expect Kirk to torch this Bears defense and get this into a shootout game.
I like that. Definitely going to be... All those games with the Vikings are shootouts, man. They're just
Chargers and Minnesota, it's all going to be shootouts. Cause
always.
Both of those teams have something in common. They revolve their teams around their offense.
Yeah, their passing offense, too. And they turn the ball over a little bit.
Uh-huh.
All right, so to my Sunday Night Football prop. I got Stephon Diggs over 82.5 receiving yards. He's had over 100 yards in 4 out of 5 games this year. Okay? He's also had 100 yards in 3 straight games. The Giants' defensive backs are struggling very, very much the whole season. They are struggling immensely. They've benched their free agent signing from 2 years ago in Adoree Jackson. They also give up over 150 yards per game to wide receivers.
That's sad.
Steph Diggs loves himself some primetime NFL football.
Oh, yeah.
He is 100% going to be popping off on Sunday night. I like him to go over 82.5 receiving yards.
I like that. I also have a fellow Bill here. For my Sunday Night Football prop, I got Gabriel Davis over 43.5 receiving yards. Now, EJ kind of said, I don't know, he's been having great games. He's due for a bad game, but it's not going to come against the Giants, dude. I really don't think so.
I
now,
hope not.
Also, here's why I picked this one. He's known as Big Shot Davis. He gets the big shots downfield all the time. Davis had 61 on Miami and 100 last week on the Jags, who both have better pass defenses than the Giants do, which they have the 21st ranked pass defense. And last week gave up 181 to Tyreek Hill, 52 to Kendrick Wilson, and 32 to Jalen Waddle fresh off an injury. With the Bills defense super down bad, they're down horrible on defense. They lost 3 defensive starters last week against the Jags. So that is huge when it comes to this because the Bills are going to need their offense to stay in this game and to push the train because the Bills defense is very, very low and they're very injured. And like I said, they lost 3 defensive starters last week. Matt Milano, Daquan Jones, and one other linebacker coming out. So this will give the Giants offense with Saquon most likely coming back, let's hope so, gonna push the run on them all game. They're gonna score with their run defense. The Bills are gonna have to push their tempo with their offense and their passing game, and they're gonna be launching the ball out. So expect this game to be a shootout. Also, 2 tight ends for the Bills are questionable. That takes away the tight end game most likely. So expect that. Gabe Davis will get many, many looks. Smash this prop. I love it. Put our 6-man together. Split it up however you want. But we think we're going to hit at least 5 out of 6 on this for sure.
We've been doing good. 25 times your money. Follow us, plays. All right. So that takes us to our fantasy players. And my fantasy player is DeAndre Swift. All right. He's playing the Jets. They're the 24th ranked defense against running backs, so they allow the 6th most points to running backs. The Eagles are 7-point favorites, okay, so we're going to be running the ball a lot. We're on the road. We're going to want to take the sound out of the crowd. We're going to be feeding Swift the ball. Swift has yet to get under 15 PPR fantasy points since he's given the starting role in week 2. So for 4 straight games, he's scored over 15 PPR fantasy points. The Eagles are 7-point favorites. I think this game script 100% favors Swift being in your starting lineup and scoring you no less than 17
Very
fantasy
happy I
points.
have him on my undefeated team.
Yeah,
if you want him, trade me, man. I'll happily give him to you.
Yeah, you're going to oversell him.
Oh, hell yeah, I am.
Seb's trades come with inflation.
Nah, I don't trade. I barely trade. So,
Okay.
my first fantasy player following up my prop. I really hate to do this, but we've seen the flex option become very important over the last 3 weeks in fantasy football. I noticed out of most people, I've lost games because of my flexes and my wide receiver 2s. If you have Zay Flowers, you need to start him at your wide receiver 2
Double
or
down,
flex.
baby. Double down.
Or flex. Because, I mean, like I said, everything regarding his prop, he is playing the 25th ranked pass defense, and Ravens need a bounce back after losing to Pittsburgh. He's been fairly consistent around 12 to 15 points a game. He's averaging. His lowest is at 8, which was against Cleveland. So he's a flex to wide receiver 2 option in this week, and he's emerging as Lamar's number 2 passing option. So I like him. You got to start him at your flex or wide receiver 2 this week. Have to.
Nice. I like that play. So for my next one, I like my man, DJ Moore, to do it again. Have another big week. He scored over 50 points last week.
Okay.
He scored 27 the week before that,
Trade him.
17 the week before that,
Trade him.
and 13 the week before that. I will not be trading him because he's going to be playing the 2nd worst fantasy team, the 2nd worst defense against wide receivers in fantasy football, the Vikings. They have given up the 2nd most receiving yards and fantasy points to receivers. DJ Moore, the only receiver on the Bears, is going to eat. Okay? There's only one team worse against receivers in the NFL than the Minnesota Vikings. This game is going to be high scoring like all Vikings games. The Bears just scored 40 points. They have a long week of rest because they played on Thursday Night Football. I like DJ Moore. Put him in your fantasy lineup. He's been getting targets. He's going to be a target hog in this game against the weak Vikings defense.
But
Start DJ Moore.
after this week, trade him. Okay. So, my next fantasy player, Dallas Goedert, the tight end for the
I was
Birds.
thinking about that. That's a good one.
So, he's coming off a massive game last week against a very well-respectable Rams defense. He's playing the 32nd ranked defense versus the tight ends in the Jets. And as he keeps progressing towards more involvement in the offense, he's going to be a safe lock at 11 to 15 points a week at your tight end sooner rather than later. If you can trade for him, I would suggest to do so, but don't give up too much. But Dallas Goedert is a must-start at your tight end, depending on who you have on your bench at tight end. But I think he has another massive game. I think he scored 25 points against the Rams. Start him again, and he'll do the same. I promise you.
Like that. All right, fantasy player for Sunday Night Football, James Cook. James Cook is the running back for a team that is favored by 14 points. The Bills are going to win this game by a lot, and they're going to be in control the whole time. I have James Cook bouncing back after a bad week last week. He snapped in the game against the Raiders and the Commanders, where they're both heavy favorites, and he got over 70 rushing yards in both games. Very high fantasy points. I like him to control this game, the Bills to control the pace, and give James Cook the rock. I like him for our Sunday Night Football fantasy start.
Okay, my Sunday Night Football fantasy start is Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
I know he's questionable, but I don't see why he wouldn't play. Right.
I don't see why either.
The Giants need him to play, and he's had enough time to get over the high ankle sprain. Plenty of time. And they've been playing it safe. Also, the Bills are without Matt Milano and Daquan Jones.
Yeah, that's
okay? That is huge when it comes to the run defense. And this will be his first game back off of injury, where Jones hasn't been producing anyway. The quarterback Jones. Giants will rely heavily on the run game and should beat up the Bills' very short defense due to injury with the run. Put him back into your starting lineup. Don't do what EJ did and keep an injured player on his IR and score 34 points in David Montgomery. Don't do that. Put him into your starting lineup now, and if he gets downgraded to out, you can make adjustments, but I really don't see why he would not play. Daniel Jones, again, is questionable to play, and he's probably not going to play. He has not been producing anyway. They're going to run the ball because the Bills' run defense is very, very short.
Cool. That's our fantasy plays. I did bench Dave Montgomery, and it was against Seb, but I still got the W. So
in one league,
okay.
in the opposite league, he did not get the dub. And I'm still, I don't know, I'm 4-1 in that league. Whatever. We'll see y'all on the next one.
Peace.